What am I to do?
Welcome to He Said, She Said Razor Branding Podcast with Michael Russo and Jaci Russo. To learn more about how to improve your brand, visit brandRUSSO.com.
Welcome to the He Said, She Said podcast. Michael, our guest today, Laurie, is, I think, a font of knowledge and information on marketing, especially when it comes to multiple locations. What they've done with balancing how to do the individual marketing that's necessary for SEO while keeping it intact and kind of consistent across all these different locations across the US, it's really smart marketing.
Well, and I think what I take away from our entire conversation with her was they really know who they are.
Yeah.
And they really know who their audiences are. And I commented her on some of the videos they were doing on YouTube and network. And you go there, it wasn't super flashy and overproduced or anything like that. It was, really kind of basic in a way, but put together the right way. It was very like, okay, I'm going to listen to that. It's going to lead me to the next. And it sounds like I'm saying it's basic. I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean that, she's producing a lot of content without having to go and shoot a mini movie series every week,
Right.
And finding a way to do that is hard because you can easily fall into the trap of your stuff not looking good, rushing to get things done quickly and not having any thought behind it. But I think they are truly cornering in on the thought leadership space, to where they are the people you want to call for your taxes and the things that are heavy lifting for businesses and whatnot. They've built that reputation over many, many years, obviously. But as they move into new markets and that reputation carries with them, and they've done a good job of amplifying that.
Right. Well, and I think that, she makes a great point about how they leverage their resources and the tools they bring in to help with that. Some in-house, some outside partners. And so I just think it's smart. And obviously, if you listen to how they've been able to move the needle and what the numbers look like, it's working.
Yeah, definitely.
So
definitely.
Y'all
Lessons
stick
to be
around.
learned.
Exactly. Y'all stick around and listen to our conversation with Laurie.
When the day is through.
Laurie, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here and talk marketing. I love it.
Well, we are happy to have you here. And I want to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the work you do, your podcast, how you manage all the different things that you do on a daily basis, which I know our listeners really struggle with, So let's start with maybe a little bit of a setup. Talk a little bit about the company and the work that you're doing right now.
So SingerLewak is not just an accounting and finance firm. We also have separate divisions, I would call them, or practice groups, like franchise or business management. We also get into state and local governments, nonprofits. So we're kind of across the board with, as far as like financial advisory, I would say, but also setting up a business or IPOs or things like that. This year, I've really started to focus on highlighting our people more than sort of the tagline or the graphic, because I have definitely seen that in this industry, more than any other industry, it's about the faces and the people, not so much the service, although everybody needs financial services, taking the veil off and like letting them really meet the people of SingerLewak versus the brand SingerLewak. It's just so broad. And that seems to be, we're 3 months into the year. Our impressions are already up by 100,000.
Wow.
We're up to 566,000 for the first 3 months of the year, which is incredible. Our leads are already up. So like last year we had 276 leads. This year, 3 months in, we're at 90 leads already. So I think this stuff is starting to pay off. So yeah, we're doing a lot of things though, but it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
That's awesome. One of the things that's interesting, because, we work with a lot of professional service companies, banks who tend to, we talk about let's lead with your people. Your people have personalities and they have their own followers. And the pushback that I hear a lot from companies is, but then what if the person leaves? We spent all this time building their reputation and building their brand, and they take that with them when they go. So how did you counter that reservation?
I think there's a part of me that knows that people will eventually leave. But it doesn't change the services that we provide, the level of service that we provide, and the type of people that we have at SingerLewak. So although I take that into consideration, it's not a huge factor for me. And most of the people that I'm working with and that I'm highlighting have been with the company for some time, or maybe have just been promoted to partner because they've been here for 5+ years. And we have a lot of long timers, 20 plus years, which makes me feel comfortable, that people stay for a long time. So, I mean, we're even doing a tax channel called Tax Tips with Mike and Ryan, who are 2 tax directors. I even thought about being like with them, hey, can you just promise me you'll give me 5 years? I just need 5 years of your time, And I was like, you know what, Laurie? They're going to be here a while. They're invested. They wouldn't have done this channel if they didn't want to do it. So, doesn't concern me as much, just because I know that the good people that I'm working with, they're not going anywhere anytime soon. They're involved and they're supportive of marketing, and they want to make SingerLewak just as great as they've promoted them and treated them. This is a really good company. So, yeah.
Now you've got a pretty large number of people to choose from when you start deciding who to feature. What's your process for that? And have you had some grumbling from people who haven't been chosen yet and they want to know when it's their turn?
So it's incentive based and it's 2-part.
Ooh, I like a plan.
It's incentive based. So the podcast that we do monthly, who's ever in the podcast, we highlight that month. So if it's a tax director or partner, it doesn't matter. We highlight them. Thank you for being in the podcast. The number 2 way that we highlight people is we have what are called affiliate pages to SingerLewak that highlight our different services that we provide. And each of those affiliates or service groups have their own members. So then I can choose from those members who I want to highlight every month in the posts, which we just started doing this year. Normally, though, the incentive there is that I collect articles from everybody in each service group every 3 months. And if they're the only contributor of an article, they're the only one highlighted for that service group. So that's also an incentive base. Like, well, if you submit me some content, I'm going to highlight you as a thank you for submitting that content. So I
love that.
Yeah, I did have a couple complaints in the beginning. Like, how come you've never featured me? I was like, well, you have to be on the podcast. Oh, okay, I'll be on the podcast then. And then they were on the podcast and we highlighted them and she was very happy. So, yeah.
How big is y'all's footprint? Like how many, what areas do you guys serve?
So we have a little like back and forth with finance, by the way. We're at 19 locations according to my records with Chatmeter and Google. We're all the way across from California all the way into Georgia. So we also have a location in Hawaii, Oregon, Colorado, Washington. So we're trying to spread our footprint across the U.S., which is why we have that Georgia location. But then we also just 2 years ago entered the Hawaii market. So big, growing, beautiful company. Yeah, all across the region.
And what type of mainly businesses are you dealing with? People like what does your scope of work entail?
I would say from my purview, it's mainly businesses, closely held businesses. And then in that, you also have, the high net worth individuals, or as they call them, individuals, which are usually tied to a closely held business anyway. So that's kind of our market. So we're more of a higher end market. We're not like a, H&R Block. We don't do, individual taxes. Like I am not a client of SingerLewak, but we do those, specialized business, higher end businesses. They started in Southern California as accountants and consultants for the entertainment industry. So they had a lot of high profile clients, and then it sort of broadened out from there to where we are now. Yeah, with like 500 plus employees and all the locations across the US.
I'm curious, like from a marketing standpoint, do you, being that you're so spread out in different areas, obviously your audience is going to change too, right? Depending on the where you're at and the area you're in and all those different things. Do you try to operate each location or geographic location as its own kind of, they have their own vibe or their own, brand essence to them? Or is it like this is who we are as a company and we're going to operate the same everywhere? Or do you flex depending on where you're at?
Yeah. If I can give you a 3-part answer. If I had my dream, I would love to have a marketer in each office to facilitate the culture of SingerLewak, grab the candidates, talk about what they did there, wins, and all the whole thing. That's not really there yet. So what I try to do is make sure that I am in constant communication with every regional leader at each of the locations and the admins at each location so that they know what we're doing, ideas that I might come across, like, what do you think about doing this? Now, I'm not always going to get bites, but I just want to make sure that they know that they're there. Like, I'm aware of their location. Because our Southern California market is so big, I've put my focus on the regions that are not as affluent, I would say, in those cities, in those states. So this year, and I've been trying to do it since I've been here, been trying to promote these locations. I've been trying everything that I can think of as a marketer to drive location, visitors and be like, oh, I didn't know you had one in Colorado. I didn't know you had one in Oregon. And I did that through podcasts and posts and, put the location of that partner on their photo. And although it worked kind of, like, I think I went up 10% per location, but it wasn't like, that's not a win for me. Like, I want to see it go up 60, 70%, from one campaign, which won't happen, but that's what I hoped, And then I kept that trend with I put location markers on any time we highlight somebody. Oh, they're from Minnesota. They're from here. This year, though, what I'm pushing, which is sort of a back to basics moment, is the reviews, the testimonials, the location testimonials. So like on the back of our business cards now, it has a scan to give a testimonial for each location. So like if you're in Colorado and you order business cards, it's going to be that unique QR code for that location, and they can hand those out. I'm hoping that will drive our location activity up so that we are seen on a search in those different areas. And then the second part of that is I'm trying to get the regional leads engaged with their location, like their Google, their Yelp. Give me some stuff that I can put in there through the year. Give me some photos. Give me some, you know what I mean? So I could start driving that too. So that, because our location, like through Google and stuff, is like a website. If it's not active, they don't rank you. So right now, all of our locations are very stagnant. They're not active, except for marketing putting stuff in there. So that's sort of my second initiative, is to get them more involved on their location markers so that we can be active like a secondary website. But it's difficult. It's not, because you try to not get the partners or the people involved because they're already very busy people. So you're trying to do it just with your ideas and then execute with the team. But this is something definitely with locations, those people have to be involved if we're going to do it right. So those are the two incentives. I know it was a long answer, but it's not a cookie cutter. Like you got to do a little bit to get those things going.
Yeah, definitely. And I find too, like in our experience, at least in where people that we work with, at least, and for ourselves, you don't change your accounts very often unless it's a problem. And usually you're we were talking about this the other day in the agency life, we are constantly on the rebound. Every new client we have, we're getting because they left somewhere else and they were unhappy. And so there's a trust issue. There's we got burned by this guy, that guy, and ourselves included. Every time we've moved our accounting firms, it's because there was a problem, and we had to go find something else. And so it's rebuilding
it's one
and
time
starting
in
over.
25 years. We're not talking like we don't hop around a lot.
No, that's my point though, is like you stick with things like until there's a problem and then you move on, and so I don't know if you find that too, where you're having to kind of deal with that and kind of prove your worth before you even walk in the door.
Yeah. And that would really be, not for me to answer. I don't do a lot of business development or work with the clients at all. But I do know that we have had a lot of long-standing clients that have been with SingerLewak for probably as long as it's been around. Like they just have stuck with SingerLewak even through the growth. And then with our mergers, another company mergers in, those clients are staying. So, and it does help them too, these companies that merge in with us, with the services that now they can provide, because maybe they were only a tax, they only did taxes. Well, now they have audit services available and Do you need help with franchise services? Do you need help with business management? So there's a lot of cross promote that we can do now with those mergers too, which helps them grow in their space. So, but yeah, I would definitely think that. I mean, I've had 2 accountants in my lifetime. And the only reason I changed is because I moved 2 hours away. So it was like, well, I don't think I can use the Modesto one anymore. It's time to, and he's right around the corner, so I can just walk to him, which is nice. I know I should probably use SingerLewak, but I can't afford them. Don't put that on the podcast, but I can't afford them. I'm not their type of client.
Quick question. So I often hear companies that struggle with multiple locations, and gosh knows you've got them, 19 different locations across all these states. When we get down to the bare tactics of it, the Google My Business, the Facebook, the individual moments of how companies show up, what has been your approach around best practices? Is it we're going to have one location and that's it? Or every location gets its own location online? How have you managed that?
So when I first started, they had it where it was all in one spot. Like all the different locations were on one page, which is not great for SEO and not great for I keep forgetting what you call them, but the Google location pages, right?
The Google My Business or GMB.
Yeah, thank you. So when we redesigned the website, we made them to be individual pages, and then they're each tagged by the state. So it's like SingerLewak.com/Georgia. So each one has its own individual landing page. And then on each location landing page, it has a slider of the partners that are located there, a contact form. I think I did put a little explanation of like what we do for additional SEO, but that's how I thought it would be better for the audience. If you're in Georgia, click Georgia. If you're in Southern California, click Southern California. And then like Southern California, we have like, I think 8 or 9 offices. So then they're all listed on Southern California. So that's how I manage and it's helped the SEO for sure. It's not a huge jump, but it helped. Yeah.
But Laurie, that's the right thing to do. And all these other companies want to cut corners and just do one because it's too much to manage, because they haven't given enough resources to the marketing department to manage 19 different Google My Businesses or 19 different landing pages on the website. But what you're doing is the right way.
Yeah. And then I also, as you mentioned, managing the locations, like the Google and the Yelp and all that. So when I first came on, I was manually managing all of those, like through Bing and Apple and Yelp. And it's like, how many can there be, And then I did some investigation, and apparently there's these magical apps out there that manage them all for you. Like, who knew this was a thing? So we signed up with ChatMeter. And so that one manages all our locations, all our reviews on all the different platforms. We can upload images to every location. So that made that like our work go down by at least 50% just by doing that. Now the landing page thing for each location, is it a bit of a pain having one for each state? Sure. But it's got to be done that way if I'm promoting like, well, I'm trying to get some more eyes on our other locations other than Southern California. And I feel like this is the only way I can do it. Definitely worth it. It was definitely the way to go. And then the partners nationwide were very happy that they had their own dedicated page or their own dedicated partners. So that makes everybody happy too. And as a marketer, there was no way I could let that slide.
Yeah.
Had to do it.
No, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
So ChatMeter, that is a great tip, a little secret trick. What other kind of tips and tricks do you feel like you've been able to utilize to make your marketing more effective or more efficient?
So I was getting all these great articles, especially through last year. We really upped those. We got about 60 last year. And I wasn't getting the traction that I wanted on those articles because they're great articles. Everybody personally writes them. They're not Copilot. They're not ChatGPT. They're actually taking the time to write these great informational articles. So I remember back in the day, you could do where you submitted them to other sites as like, backlinking, right? And I was like, oh, it's called backlinking now. Okay. And so then I started looking into backlinking and like, how can I do that without putting like a whole lot of extra work on the marketing team? Because we're a small but mighty marketing team. And then I realized that I could do each article, maybe 2 out of the, 10 that get submitted that are really good, and put them through as a press release through EIN News, because they reach over 1,500, different tabloids and things like that. And some of them will pick them up and then publish them on their own website. Great backlinking, easy process, right? 1 click, submit. Bren does a great job. Bren Moore, she does all the rewrites of our articles to be press releases. I started doing that the mid of last year. And there's no way for me to know correlation of, was it the YouTube shorts or was it the SEO press releases? I don't know. That's when our stuff really started to jump in impressions. I would highly recommend taking at least 2 of the, I usually get an average of 10 every quarter of articles. Choosing 2 that you can make as a press release and get those out too. Huge. It was huge. I was like,
now,
I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
Are you doing the paid EIN submissions or the free one?
It's paid. Yeah. It's an annual fee, and you get I think it was either unlimited or up to 50 a year or something. Because before we only had it where it was 3 a year because of our merger. So we have to put a press release out. And then when we started doing that, I had to up that. But it's not expensive by any means.
Right.
I mean, it's an easy tool. They walk you through everything. There's not a whole lot you have to do. It probably takes us 15 minutes once we have the approved press release to get that up. So we tried other methods before that, okay, let's submit to the accounting journal. And, I had 3 others that I found that could be great and they made it so difficult to submit an article.
Right.
And it was so time consuming that I was like, this is not working. We can't do this is
well,
not.
And to your point,
yeah.
If you're submitting it to the accounting journal, other accounting firms are going to see it, but not your actual target audiences. And so you're going to be missing those people you're really trying to reach. So you mentioned the YouTube shorts. Let's talk about those a little bit. How are you using that, and what's the result been?
So I'm 46 years old, and YouTube is new to me. It's very new to me. I will admit that I was ignorant in how powerful that platform is. So we started, when I came on, we didn't have a lot of videos to highlight, our different services. So the first year I was here, I used the podcast as an excuse to make a video about that service. And then over 2 years, I have a service video for every client service group and practice group except 2. So that's great. Nice little, 1 minute, 30-second videos. And they did okay, I would promote them. And I was like, okay, but it's driving traffic. I'm not getting leads. What else can I do to get this impression rate up? What do I need to do? And then I saw these shorts. So we tried a short. What is this? No promotion, nothing, and 250 views in 2 days. How is that working? It was like a light on moment. Whoa, this is neat, So then we started doing investing more of our time in shorts and less in the, sort of long form videos, as you call them, over a minute, I guess is long form. So we started doing these 30-second, 45-second clips. And like I said, we started doing the same time we did the SEO. And I saw that impression rate go from 30,000 impressions a month to 450,000 impressions a month. And now this year we're averaging 500 something, whatever I said. So there's something to it. Now we just got Customer Insights, which is a platform like HubSpot. And we're onboarding it and getting everything set up. Once we have that, I'm going to really be able to granularly see, where is that traffic coming from? Where did they go when they were on the website? What was their journey? All these different things that I would really love to see, but I can't see it right now. I can only just see, how many times did you view it? Did you click to go to the website? Cool. You know what I mean? That's kind of where I'm at right now. So, but the increase in leads leads me to believe,
right,
that these shorts that we're promoting, and we'll get 2 or 3 up in a month, which is better than just one video, are driving the traffic to bring us in leads. So that's what we're doing now. Now my whole time, I just want to spend on YouTube and develop our thumbnails. We're starting a new channel. If there was more time in the day and I didn't have a family, I probably would be on the computer all day developing it. It's just going to take a little extra time than anticipated, but YouTube is cool. it's a newfound muse, I would say. YouTube. Yeah.
I love that. And I love that you're embracing it. Michael and his team are dealing not just with all of those different tools for the agency, but also for all of our different clients. And so it's always great to see that the work that we're putting in is going to pay off just like the way it's paying off for y'all. So that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen their videos, Jackie. It's actually kind of cute. They have these little cubicle offices. And
awesome.
Is that AI generated, or is that something? How did y'all do that? Because it's I like it. It's clever.
So I can't take credit. We do a different campaign every quarter, and this, which is almost over at the end of March, was building blocks for business success. So we sent the concept over to our video guy, Raphael Baden. You'll have to look him up. Very talented. I don't know how he does what he does and can understand my articulation of my vision, but he does. And he's in my head, and he does it very well. And he came up with that all on his own, that concept. We sent him the logo and the whole thing, and he brought that back. And I was like, I love you. Like, thank you. Like, and he kills it every time. Every time we have a concept, like we did Unlocking the Audit Code, killed it with that video, like captured what I was trying to do. Every single time we did it across the region, and he did like with the car thing. And then he did this postcard, thing when we're doing another campaign, and all the videos were consistent, but one was for credit union, one was for, and I was like, thank you. Like, I don't have to give him any direction really at all. And if he has questions, he'll call me. But for the most part, that guy is another level of creativity. Like, I am so thankful that I was able to meet him and bring him on board and do these out. Like, he is a reason I would say that this marketing program is doing so well. It's because of, the whole team contributes, but those videos are freaking cool. I love that guy. Like, he just does such a great job. Yeah.
And this in the best of ways. Like I said, they're not real heavy lifting. These are minimal videos. They're very, and easy to manage. And like a lot of them are looks like they're audio only and with the graphic going on. So like I said, there's not a heavy lift there. You don't have to go out and shoot something new every day. It's very organic looking, you know what I'm saying? So that's a great way to tackle some of this. I think we get caught up in that too. My team is like, you want to have, a movie budget, and you just don't have it. You have to deal with the realities, and there's a fine line between it being, non-professional and quality. But I think you do that well with what I'm seeing here. Like I said, it looks consistent. There's good branding in it. It's good. It feels like it's part of a theme and a campaign. It makes me want to go to the next one. Okay, well, I learned something here. Let me go to the next one. Let me go to the next one. And so, well done with that. Like I said, but it's not. You didn't have to, sell the farm to do it.
Yeah. And that's what I was looking to change this year, because those videos are long form videos, although very good, was a lot of work in those, because we had to write the script and get it approved and then do the voiceover. And then, the video editors working on it through, sometimes 45 days to get those together, those longer animated, cool videos. And I was like, I feel like the shorts just do better, and we can just come up with a template every 3 months and just redo the template, and it'll be great. And then it reinforces the campaign. Why are we spending so much time on these long form videos? Although I love them, I would rather us get out more than just one video after 3 months. I love it. I think it's cool. It's really fun to do these.
Well, the truth
shorts.
is nobody's watching the long form videos. Across the board, study show after study show. Our entire world is getting shorter and shorter attention spans. We hit it, move on. We hit it, move on. And so we have to adjust to that. It's hard sometimes to back people off and say, well, I have so much to say. I get it, but we got to put it into bite-sized pieces. You can't put your whole bio out there every time you talk. You have to be really, really to the point and to get your message across.
Yeah, for sure.
So, Laurie Ann, we've talked about a lot of content y'all are creating. You got the podcast, you've got the videos, you've got all the things you're maintaining for every location. That's a lot. And I bet the people listening are thinking that you have this massive team of people. Talk to us a little bit about the makeup of your department in-house.
So the marketing department, internally, I have two other members, Anna Blaho and Bren Moore. They are amazing. Bren Moore is my sort of content writer, organizer, little fly in my ear. Did you do this? Did you do that? Love her. And then Anna is the graphics, does the podcast producing, the recording, chooses the clips that we're going to put into the shorts. She does way more than that too, because she's kind of my right and left sometimes as well. Because we're the digital marketers, right? So we're coming up with the ideas and the logos and things like that. Then outside of the internal team, I have two others. I have a web contractor, which does all the website updates for me, which was a hard one to let go of because I was doing them and then realized you're going to go loony if you keep trying to manage the website too. So I finally have just been started sending them everything I need done, and they do a great job. And then we have Rafi, who I mentioned. I call him Rafi, but Raphael, who does all of our videos and shorts. He also does the tax tips in a minute, which is that channel. He does all those video setups too. So yeah, that's our. And then of course, all the firm service leaders to me are part of the marketing team. And then I leverage some other, the data and the finance for more analytics, but mainly those are our people. Yeah.
That's a small but mighty team. I mean, that's very efficient use of human capital, because with the amount that you're producing, I think it would look like you have a dozen people all doing this work.
Yeah, I think a lot of it, and this has all gotten, like I keep mentioning 4 years. That's how long I've been here. It was like a break it apart. How can we all do this without and run lean, And that's how we came up with the quarterly campaigns. Let's reuse templates. Let's reuse, now I'm getting these articles, the affiliate pages. We have a support agency, which I didn't mention, that does all the posts for me on the affiliate pages. And so now when I run a campaign and it's going to be about individuals that could be tied to closely held businesses, I can leverage those posts, repost them on SingerLewak, and I'm cross promoting. So it's all just about utilizing how can we do this the easiest with automation and not recreating the wheel all the time. And that's what we're doing. And it's working really, really well. Right. Customer Insights is going to help us a lot because we won't be going ad hoc anymore. We won't be, okay, we got to go to YouTube. Now we got to go to LinkedIn. Now we got to go to chat. We're not having to do all of these reach over here, now I got to go to Google Analytics. Now I got to go to Search Console. Now, you know what I mean? Now we're going to MailChimp. Now we're going to export from here, import to here. And we won't have to do any of that anymore. So I feel like that's going to really help us even streamline that even better. But it has been a work in progress. I'm not going to, it was difficult the first couple of years trying to figure out how to manage it all, but we've got it down. I almost would like a more person, but we've got it for now. And if we grow again, then I'm going to ask for another person. Yeah. Right. for
You're going to deserve one.
Well, the world it's changed so much. I mean, I talk about all the time, when I first started doing all this, you would put together a campaign and it would run for 6 months, and then you'd update it and you run it for those 6 months. And campaigns consisted of 3 TVs, 5 radios, 12 print ads, and you were good. Yep. That's every day now. It's almost every day you're creating that content. I mean, it really is. I mean, and a video shoot, you have to go to the video editors and all that stuff. Now you're editing it yourself. Now let me hire a full film crew. Well, you know what? I'm gonna go shoot on my phone. It's just the demands of stuff has changed dramatically, and it's gotten easier in some ways. And I love the control that you can have over that, but it's also very hard to keep up sometimes just because of the demands. I mean, you run a Google ad campaign and there's 85 different sizes for 25 ads. I mean, that is a lot of work. That's a lot of time. Yeah. And so all that is compressed into usually undersized teams. Everybody that we work with usually has an undersized team, and they're trying to do more with little, and it's just expected.
Mm-hmm. It is. And I think it's okay because I feel like that's been my experience my entire career as a marketer. Even when I was doing it for clients and I was a one-person team with vendors, there's a lot expected of marketers to wear many, 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 many hats just because you're creative and you can do it all. I mean, I used to run trade shows for clients, plus do the graphics for it, plus put out the penny savers and I did it all. Like that was what they asked of me, So, okay, let's get this done. I think with a bigger company though, like SingerLewak, corporate, you have tools that you can use, and the automations internally, like even with Microsoft, they have a whole bunch of stuff that I can use to really make things easier. But it's also just playing with ideas. Okay, this isn't working. This is taking too much of our time. Let's try something else. Okay, that is kind of working. It's still off a little. Let's play with something else. And then you get it down to a routine and perfectly rotating gears, and we're moving well through it. And nobody seems to be as stressed as we were when we first started, because we just have it all down to a process now. And now we're perfect timing to have like a HubSpot customer insights to put that all in there, because it's all like well oiled now. We know what we're doing. We know what we're going to do every quarter. We're planning ahead of time. These are all things that you have to do. But it took me a minute to figure it all out. Like it was a minute to get that all figured out. So, but we've got it now. I'm very impressed with our team. They stuck with me through all my crazy ideas, and we got it all worked out. So
that's awesome. One of the things that a lot of our guests talk about is justifying budgets to senior leadership, tracking what's working and what's not working. You've got a lot of activity in a lot of different places. What has been your system for being able to validate the investment in marketing?
At first it was Google Search Console, analytics. This is how we're doing.
Right.
But it doesn't really give them the broader picture of, is it contributing any actual value to the firm? And I'm sure I would have heard if it wasn't, if I just stuck with those basic analytics. But I really wanted to know personally if we were contributing at all to ROI, as they call it in corporate world. So I reached out to an analyst and had him do sort of like a Power BI form that we could connect our leads to, and then to our CRM, and tell me if these leads did anything. Did they become new clients? And they did. Last year, we had 10 of the 276 that became new clients of SingerLewak. That's great. $200,000. Cool. This is awesome. And leadership really liked that. Now, the reason they invested in customer insights is because of the amount of people we're bringing to the website. The leads are great. The impressions are great, but they want to know more, just like I do. And so customer insights can do that. It can also help us communicate better with our existing clients and make sure that we're always in touch and in top of mind, which we can't do right now. There's no way I could even attempt it. But if we connect all of this, then we can do that. And then we can see that ROI go up, and I can run more reports and all these different wonderful things. So the thing with the finance firm, which I learned very quickly, is if I can't show the data, I am not going to get the budget. So I changed my sort of approach after I realized the first time I got denied. I had to show the why in the data. Like, this is why, and this is what it can do, and this is the data that'll drive, and when I did that with the location one with Chat Meter, they realized how important locations are and how it's important that they need to be managed. And this is a great way to do that and help our locations and, be seen more and all these different things. So it really is all about the data and the analytics for a finance firm. And I appreciate that it makes me go one step further instead of just being like, oh, I have this great idea. I think it's going to do A, B, C, D, E, Right. That's not going to work. I got to show them all the ins and outs of the whole thing. And sometimes, I'm not going to say very often, but sometimes I'm like, yeah, the numbers aren't there. We can't do it. We can't do that idea. So I appreciate it. It made me go to another level with my creative mind, Yeah.
Well, you're a graphic designer by trade, so you do have that creative mind. How hard is it for you to balance the vision you have creatively with the tactics and numbers and strategy that is necessary to justify what you're doing?
I try to just limit it to the processes that we have now.
Right.
I will get ideas that I'm like, we got to build on this. There's no reason not to. I could give an example. Like we do a lot of mergers, and we want more companies to join SingerLewak, but we didn't have any collateral about that. Like, why would you join SingerLewak? What would be your reasons, and what do other mergers say about us that have joined, and testimonials about that? So that's I call them side projects, because obviously our main is everything I've just talked about. But that's one side project that I have sort of a passion for, just because I was able to have a conversation with a couple conversations with other companies that I would have liked to have been like, come to SingerLewak, right? And it was challenging to have that conversation, but it also was like, man, you really know the answers, but nobody else, like, there's not written anywhere. Let's get that so people can see it, and you can promote that, and you can help with bringing in mergers if they're interested and they have literature that they can read. So it's certain things like that. It's more of an observation now versus let's take action right away.
Right.
I do more observations now than I ever have before. Like, even if you look at our new post, you'll see, it's got the picture of the person in the dark background and SingerLewak and our other affiliate logo. Well, I pulled that from I made it better. I went one better in my view, of course, from another accounting firm that had just changed up their collateral. And I was like, that's cool. I want ours to look like that, but I got to change it and highlight our people more. I love our new posts. Like, they brand us so well. Like, but I would have never done that had I not observed and seen what other people are doing.
Now, Laurie, do you go through the process of then updating your brand standards and your strategic plan for the year, so that when you make that kind of a shift, it's not a one-off? Everybody knows this is what it's going to look like from now on.
Yes. And the brand book, the infamous, I just finished. I started it August of last year. But I realized why I didn't finish is because there were some things outstanding in my mind that I hadn't figured out yet. So it was kind of like a block, like, I can't really finish because I don't really know yet, And so when I came out with this new design for our blog, and it literally happened like a flash in my mind. And I was like, I got it, and put it in the brown book, and I finished it in a day. Like, I was like done. I was like, oh, okay, I got it. And then, of course, you have to communicate that with all your agencies that you're working with, and make sure they got it, which was a tiny bit of a struggle. But we're all on board now, and everybody, knows what the ask is. And the good thing is the website is organized by our service group. So if you need to know who a closely held business partner is, they can grab that from that, partner directory, because it's all segmented that way. So, but yes, on the brand book, you'll have to they talk to the general partner, but I am a brand geek when it comes to SingerLewak. So I will catch anything that is off and bring it to attention, like any little thing, because I wrote the policy. So I know what SingerLewak is. Like, I told the GP that I bleed yellow and green. Like, that's just how it is in me, like, right. I can't see it any other way. Yeah, I love the brand. And you'll know, just as being a graphic designer and marketer, sometimes when you get too close to a brand, you can stop like thinking about ideas. I haven't reached that. Not with this. Good. I haven't reached that point yet. Yeah.
That's
so
awesome.
It's just a lot of fun to work with. Yeah.
I know we're getting close to the end of our time, but I had one quick question to ask before we wrapped up. So as you look at this opportunity to acquire other existing firms, those mergers, and expand your footprint, what has been the philosophy of to rebrand or not rebrand, to create a house of brands or a branded house? Do everybody that comes into the fold immediately become SingerLewak? Do they maintain their old identity and they're just a member of the family? Like, how have you set that up?
I personally did not set that up. And I know we got like 10 minutes, but it's sort of a funny story. But when I first came on, I didn't even know what a merger was. I had no idea. And so then the first one I worked on was like deer in headlights. Like, what am I doing? Where are we going with this? And now we have it down to a process, and we've got a form they fill out and all kinds of cool stuff that we started doing with mergers. But the process as far as name is we actually have them keep their accounting firm name, but we change it to the SingerLewak brand, which is, the little squares. And then underneath, it'll always say a division of SingerLewak for 2 years. And then we go through and claim all the locations. And like I said, it's a whole process that we have written down, and which we're going to have on the website soon about what we do to help promote you as a merger, just as the marketing part. And then after 2 years, their name drops, and now you're SingerLewak forever. You're not going back. But they've had time to transition over 2 years, so people understand that, and they recognize our little icon next to the name. And then when it changes to SingerLewak, it's not as foreign to the clients that have come on board, and especially the people that work with those clients. Yeah.
Right. I love that. And I love that you have a set plan, because I think that's so important to making sure you're not going to put yourself into an awkward position with a company that thinks they're going to maintain their identity forever. And in 2 years, it's like, wait, what do you mean you're changing my name?
Yeah. And our merger team, which is mainly from services and a couple other people, I would say that they're really very good at communicating with the mergers about the process, about what we're going to do. We all in firm services have a meeting with them, walk them through a slide deck. We're in constant communication with them, making sure that they know who to go to, who to talk to. I always am saying to the merger people, if you have any questions, I'm always here. Please reach out. And all the firm services people are that way. So especially if you're coming from a 15 people firm into a 500 plus firm, like you're going to need a bit of a hand holding in that. Like that's a bit of a water hose, like you're switching systems, all these different things. And I would say that the firm service people are got to be some of the most patient, understanding people when it comes to a merger, because it is a lot of changing of systems. But I would say from my talks with all these different people that have come in, they're very happy at SingerLewak, even through all the dirty. Now that they've been here, they're happy. They're happy with the process that we have, with the services that we're able to do, how we're able to broaden their footprint, all these different things. So, which is why I have a passion about getting that information out to the public. Yeah.
Laurie Ann, that's awesome. Thank you for your time and your insights. This is exactly what I think everybody needed to hear, because so many people sit in your position and, like you, stretch thin, small team, a lot of work going on. And I think it's helpful to hear how other people manage that. So thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, you two. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Talk to you soon. Bye.